Hello friends, family, and internet strangers, Stephanie here, and today's video is all about the Instant Pot. I use my Instant Pot a lot on my channel, but I get a lot of comments and a lot of comments from friends in my real everyday life as well that they are intimidated by their Instant Pot or are afraid to get one because they think they will be intimidated by it. So today I'm going to show you a few easy things to make in the Instant Pot and a little bit more about how the Instant Pot itself work. So hopefully y'all find this helpful. This video is part of a collaboration hosted by Melinda over at Melinda's Messy Sink. So I will have her channel linked down below. If you don't already subscribe, you should. She is such a sweetheart. I love watching her videos. So definitely check out her channel as well as the playlist. So this is all about people's kitchen favorites. So that could be favorite appliances like me and my Instant Pot. It could be favorite recipes, favorite gadgets. So definitely check that out to see all of everyone's favorite kitchen items. The first thing I'm going to show y'all is how I meal prep chicken in the Instant Pot. This is something I do regularly because it is cheaper usually to buy chicken in bulk, but I'm only cooking for myself, so I will just put it in the Instant Pot and then throw it in the freezer fully cooked so I can pull it out for easy meals. So first thing, I added water into my Instant Pot. I did that before I put the chicken in so that I didn't just wash off all the seasoning. So I used 1 cup of water. You could also use chicken broth for this, but I find that this makes a nice chicken broth when I use the water this way. So I have put in 1 cup. That is kind of the minimum amount of liquid that you want to put in your Instant Pot. You want to put at least 1 cup of liquid. It does not always have to be water, but when I do chicken, this is how I do it. And then I already seasoned the first side that went down into the Instant Pot. Now I'm just seasoning up the other side. I am adding salt, pepper, onion powder, and garlic powder this time around. Sometimes I use the corruption seasoning that I talk about a lot on my channel. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Stephanie. I do what's for dinner videos, I do travel videos, road trip videos, so I hope you'll consider sticking around if you're new here. So once I've got my chicken seasoned up, I am going to put the lid on the Instant Pot, and then you're going to put that little valve to sealing. Next to it, you'll see this little knob here, and when it is down, that means there's no pressure in your Instant Pot. And then once it does come up to pressure, it will pop up, and that's how you know not to open your Instant Pot. So it's very important that you put that little knob to where it says sealing. You'll see on it says sealing and venting. For my chicken, with the size that it is, I'm doing 7 minutes at high pressure, so I hit pressure cook and then put the timer down to 7. And then I am going to do a natural release after that. So you'll see here, this is what it looks like when it is up to pressure. That little knob goes right up to the top. So when it is like that, do not open your Instant Pot. That's very important. When it is done, I did a natural release. So that means I waited for that little knob to go all the way down before I did anything to it. So then I put my valve back to the position of venting to make sure all the steam is out, and once that little knob is down, it is safe to open up your Instant Pot. I recommend getting multiple of these little rings, the silicone rings inside, because they can smell kind of bad even after you put them in the dishwasher and scrub them and try and do everything to make the smell come out. Sometimes they will just smell bad, so I recommend getting multiple. You can see this made a nice little broth in here, so I'm actually going to keep that broth, and the next thing I'm going to show y'all how I do is soup. I love using my Instant Pot for soup, and some of my most popular videos on this channel are my soup videos. So soup is really easy in the Instant Pot because you can get the flavors to meld together quickly without standing over a stove and stirring constantly. This is what I'm calling a cleaning out the freezer and fridge soup. Does anyone else ever just look at ingredients that you have and think, well, if I throw that all together, I bet I could make a soup?
because that's what this is. I had zero recipe. I had some sausage left over from a different recipe that will be in a future What's for Dinner video, most likely the one that'll come out next week. I had shredded carrots in the freezer. I had a little bit of a bag of frozen corn left, and I had spinach, although I'm going to add the spinach after it cooks in the Instant Pot, so it's a little bit fresher. And then I had this cream cheese to use up. So I thought, you know what? This'll make a soup. This will make a good soup. So in my sausage, it also has some peppers and onions, so you can see that kind of floating in there as well. So once I've got everything in there except for the spinach, I am just going to put my lid on. I'm doing 15 minutes for this. And then once it comes to pressure, I am only doing about a 10-minute to 15-minute natural release. And then you'll see I used a spatula here to put my knob back to the venting position, because you can see that little nozzle is up. I want to make sure all that steam comes out. So with the steam coming out, it can happen kind of fast. So you do want to use, especially for prepared for a lot of steam, something like a spoon or a spatula that you can kind of pull it away from your body and not be holding your hand over it. And then once that little knob drops after every bit of steam has come out, you're free to open that up because it will be safe to do so. Now I'm adding in my spinach, and then I'm just going to stir this all up. I was adding my spinach kind of slowly because I plan on only using a little bit, but then I realized the bag of spinach I had in my fridge was going to go bad soon, and I was not going to be using this in anything else in the next day or two. So I just added the entire bag of spinach. That's the good thing about spinach. It wilts down so much that you can use an entire bag, and it still doesn't look like a whole lot. I also realized as this was cooking, after, of course, it had already come up to pressure and I couldn't open it and interrupt the cooking process. Well, I could have, but then I would have had to start over and do a release and all that. I realized I didn't season it. So I added some corruption seasoning, and I will link the video down below where I got that corruption seasoning, as I always do when I mention it. And then I am just going to stir this up. And this was a nice dinner that I could then also take for lunch. Next up, this is from when I was homesick and could not leave the house. I had the ingredients to make a very small batch of spaghetti sauce. I really wanted pasta, and I did not have any sauce left in my freezer, and I only had 1 jar of each of my sauce and puree, so that wasn't enough to do a full big batch like I normally do and then freeze. So I decided to do a small batch, and when I do a small batch, I use my Instant Pot for this. I do have a video that has my family recipe for sauce. I will link that down below as well if you want to check that out. But this way that I'm doing it here is pretty much my traditional way of doing it. I've got my peppers, onions, 1 can of sauce, 1 can of tomato puree. I am stirring that together with about half a can of water that I use to clear out the rest of the tomato sauce and puree. I'm adding some salt, pepper, parsley, basil, and oregano with my dad's super specific measurements of 1 part parsley, 1 part basil, and then double the oregano. So I just pour that kind of all on top. And then the one thing that's not in my dad's recipe, but I've been craving more heat lately, I added crushed red pepper flakes to my sauce. I did this for 25 minutes on high pressure and then a 15-minute natural release. So when you see something that says quick release, it means as soon as this gets to the point where it says end on it and it beeps and lets you know it's done, you are going to use your spoon or spatula and release the pressure by moving that knob from sealing to venting. And then if you see natural release and then it maybe says 15 minutes, that means that you are going to wait 15 minutes after it's done cooking and then release whatever pressure is left. Or if it's just a full natural release, you just wait all the way until the knob goes down on its own and all of the pressure is removed from your Instant Pot. Most sauces and soups you want to do at least a little bit of a natural release, so when the steam comes out, it's only steam coming out and not that boiling liquid from inside the pot. You want that to be able to calm down a little bit. And with meat, there's usually a little bit of a natural release to finish the cooking process. Please make sure when you cook meat, it is fully cooked. Use a meat thermometer.
Thank you so much for watching. Thanks again, Melinda, for hosting. I hope y'all will check out the playlist. If you are here from the playlist, I hope you'll consider subscribing and sticking around so you can become part of my YouTube community here. And if you enjoyed this video, I hope you'll give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment down below. Thanks for watching.